Hello, Project Runway fans. I'm Gold Derby editor Daniel Montgomery here with my fellow editor Susan Wloszczyna, and we are here to talk about the Sheer Genius episode of Project Runway, which just aired last night as we're recording this on Friday afternoon. The challenge was for the designers to create looks with sheer fabric. Pretty simple editorial looks, but the episode was not very simple. There was a withdrawal, there was a return, there was an elimination, there was a kind of a meltdown. So let's start with, it started the episode pretty much, but after several weeks, Dae-young Kim, who has been sort of ailing this entire season, from episode 2 where she was hospitalized to feeling sick the last 2 weeks, having to be attended to medics, she finally decided to withdraw from the competition for the sake of her health, which I think is definitely the right decision, just because this has been happening now for 3 weeks in a row, and she just couldn't get through another challenge this way. So what did you think about that happening so quickly in the episode?
Well, I think it was, something we were waiting to happen, because I think from the beginning, if you watch the after show this week, she's there and looking a little better. But she just, this was a chance in a lifetime. That's what they feel like when they go on this show. And she pushed it away as much as she could. And the amazing thing is she made some incredible outfits, even in that state. But But it's interesting to see her on the after show, if you want to at least leave with some relief that, she's getting better. So, yeah. But anyway, the question was, I think at a certain point, pretty quickly, I said, they're going to bring Marquise back, because they got to make new episodes, and they're running out. People are starting to, want to quit or are sick, you have to have backup for them. So
I figured it was probably going to be Marquise coming back. At first, I wasn't sure what they would do, because they didn't announce right away that they were bringing another designer back. And so I was like, well, are they going to, when Dancing with the Stars has a withdrawal or something like that, what they'll do is that there will be no elimination at the end of that round. So I thought maybe they'll do that, and they'll just award the winner, and the winner will be get the immunity, and then they'll announce the bottom 3 and the bottom 2, and neither of you going home, because Dae-young is not here. But it made sense to bring Marquise back, especially because it's fair, because if Dae-young has to go home, if Dae-young had decided a day before that she had to go home, then Marquise wouldn't have had to go. So, it was fair. And it made sense, because he was the last person to be eliminated, so they didn't just pluck someone out of random. They picked the last guy to go, because he had been here the longest and, was here up to that point. I did think they were going to pull something surprising when they were at Mood, and the door opens, and they go to commercial break, and I'm like thinking, is this going to be something really surprising? But then it was just Marquise.
Right. It's funny. I love Christian now. When he was first on, maybe the first 2 episodes last season, he was kind of stiff, and now he's just loving at every moment he's on camera. And I think from what people said after that first season, he's so in the groove now. He can make a quip so good. And I think he legitimately gives good advice, and without being, he's not the avuncular person that, Tim was, but he knows what he's doing. He made, I think, 2 dresses for the Emmys, and he did that Lizzo dress and another one. And
he did Demi Lovato's gown.
Her. So, he knows what he's doing, but he's not stuck up about himself, unlike some contestants maybe this season that you might want to talk about. Anyway, I really enjoy him now, because sometimes on his season he could be a little full of himself too, but he won, so
he's grown up. He's definitely grown up.
Yeah.
And he's so playful. Like, he makes the show. Like, without him, I don't think this, Return to Bravo would have really worked, because, like, or without someone like him, because he's really brought the show alive. He really connects everything together. He's the connective tissue of the show. I hope he and Carly get an Emmy nomination this year for Best Reality Host that Tim Gunn and Carly and Heidi Klum always got.
Yeah.
But part of me thinks that the Emmys are kind of been there, done that with Project Runway. But like, give one to Kristen Siriano. He deserves one at least. And he's always right. Like, every time you see him giving his critiques to the designers or works in progress, he tells them exactly what's wrong. And then when you hear the judges critique the looks, they're like, this is wrong with this look. And it's something that Christian mentioned, like Chelsea, the sleeves on Chelsea's look. Right. He was like, what are these? These don't look like they have anything to do with anything. And then the judges were like, those sleeves, you should have lost the sleeves. And it's like, just do whatever he says. Which brings us to Victoria, who he told her, he kept it real with her. Like, as soon as she said, like, when she was at Mood, she said what she was designing, I'm like, it's the same thing she's made before. It's like the exact same thing. Right. And then Christian sees the sketch and he's like, it's the exact same thing. And then she's like, but it's totally different. And I'm like, what is she thinking? That's totally different.
Right. Well, she could have made pants of some sort or done something beyond the half black, mass, whatever dresses she makes all the time with the strips and everything else. And I think she did that kind of weaving thing before, And if you look at her clothes when they kind of, sometimes show them, that she's made in her store, they're not like that. They're
it's such a wide variety. So like, I wonder why she's so stuck in this one particular mode on the show. Whenever they show her other work, it's like, well, she has so much more range than that, and she's so good at it. That, like, I don't know how she just keeps coming up with just the same thing over and over again. Maybe it's the time constraint, where it's like when she has 2 days, she gets sort of designer's block, and she's like, this is the idea that I have, and I know I can do it in a day or 2 days, as opposed to having a much more open amount of time to think of things. I did feel for her at times. I felt for her and was frustrated by her periodically, because like she takes criticism to heart in a way very much that I do. So like, the idea that she would rather quit than show the judges something that she wasn't proud of and that she knew wasn't good and that she would be criticized for, I can relate to that feeling. Like, I would rather not be here than to be like looked down on or disappoint anyone or something like that. So, but at the same time, after Daeyoung went home, like from being sick, and she'd struggled so hard to be there, and then after Mark came back after being eliminated and was still willing to put work out there, for her to be like, I can't do this, I quit, after she had gotten 1 low score, after 5 high scores, and for the prospect of just a second low score, that she was ready to just throw it all in. That's what
I think people were feeling that she was disrespecting the show, disrespecting the people who want to be on there, who would, just be over the moon if they got the chance that she did. And
people who would love to still be here who have been eliminated.
Yes, there you go too. So no, you don't. I don't know. Well, besides being sick or something, I can't remember if anybody just walked off the show ever before.
I mean, I know there have been withdrawals from the show. I don't know if there's ever been just like, I'm done with this. I just don't feel like it anymore kind of withdrawal.
Yeah.
I'm sure someone watching this will quickly correct us in the comments.
Good. We're not saying we're right. We're saying we're bringing it up as a topic maybe to be explored. So,
but it would have been super frustrating for her to walk. Although at the same time, I then would have eliminated her from this episode. not just because of her attitude, but because her dress was genuinely bad. Like, you know, Nina was very generous to that thing. And, you know, she's like, oh, it looks flattering on the model's figure, which was true to the extent
Kinda, but the front of it, there was little ripples. I mean, it wasn't fitting the way that, like, those pants she made for the challenge, that she didn't really do the challenge, her heritage or whatever.
Space alien.
Yeah. I mean, those fit very well, you know. And so I don't know why she doesn't do more pants or something else besides these half on, half off, you know, kind of ensembles. I don't know.
Yeah.
Maybe she got a clue now. I don't know.
Maybe, but I thought last week would have been her clue, where it's just been where she landed at the bottom for the first time, and the judges were like, you know, you didn't really do the challenge, and, you know, Brandon was like, she gave us the same thing that she's given us before. So I thought that would be her wake-up call, but then to see her just sort of falling back into the same thing again makes me worried. And I was sad that they sent home Chelsea after Chelsea had spent that challenge saying, okay, I know this look that I'm making may not turn out great,
right?
And
but she
whatever
happens,
but I'm going to try, and I'm going to be out there. And then she did, and she landed at the bottom, and it was her first time ever at the bottom.
Right.
And the judges saved Victoria and not her. And then Kristen Siriano doesn't save Chelsea either. I really thought Kristen Siriano was going to use the save. And so I don't know what he will actually, if anything, use that save for, because Chelsea, for her one bad look, like, one, it wasn't the worst look that's ever been on that runway.
No.
And two, her track record up to this point, one bad day, she should have gotten a save.
Yeah.
So I'm disappointed in that, and I'm disappointed that, you know, Victoria got the stern talking to, but also they let her stay when Chelsea really wanted to be there, and really she had to talk sense into Victoria while she was struggling with her own look, and then she gets sent home, which bugged me.
You're right. Yeah.
But on the positive side, positive depending on your outlook.
Your man, Sergio.
my favorite contestant, Sergio. He won the challenge. It's his second challenge win. He won elimination or immunity from elimination next week for winning this challenge. And
well, wait a second. Time. Oh, is that the last time immunity?
Yeah,
because I thought you said time. This season. Yeah. This season. Okay, this was the last challenge with immunity. Okay.
So he won immunity from this challenge, and that's the last time anyone will get immunity from a challenge. So he will have immunity next week, but no one is going to have immunity after that. Which, honestly, like, I try to have, to be very, objective about his work, even though I find him as a person, or at least how he has been edited on the show, to be fairly unpleasant. His look was dynamite. Like, when it came out on the runway, like, it was the first one out, and I sort of like slumped my shoulders. It's like, oh, he's gonna win and he's gonna deserve it.
It was beautiful. It was so beautiful. And one day, he made that in one day.
One day, perfectly.
And it fit beautifully, and all the naughty bits were covered beautifully, and he just, and he picked the right model to do it on, and he did everything right except he was still himself, so he couldn't get rid of his personality.
But he did everything right except his personality. And like you said, everything about that dress was perfect. It was perfectly tailored to her body. It was the perfect use of sheer, in the sense that it was sort of provocative and showing a lot of skin, but you wouldn't know it from first look because it looks modest until you sort of realize, oh, she's showing all that skin underneath, because everything's so perfectly strategically placed without calling attention to itself. And the tassels, which could have been a nightmare, all over the place, really worked, really complemented the look. So it was a fantastic look. But then he gets off the runway and says, well, I'm back on top where I belong. And I'm just like, ugh. And they got on Victoria's case, lacking humility. Meanwhile, Victoria's out there saying, I hate myself. And then she lacks humility, but Sergio walks off the runway with a challenge win saying, I belong on top. All is right with the world again. It's like that just, wrong, even though he deserved it.
But what is worse, somebody questioning himself and in the Sturm and Drang of, Victoria just, oh, woe is me, or Sergio having too much confidence? I mean,
neither is good. I prefer the people in the middle. I actually think Jeffrey is a good example. Like, he is incredibly humble, and he was very humble when he presented his look to the judges and said, I'm very proud of this look. This look represents me as a designer, and I hope you like it. And they said, sorry, we didn't. But he was receptive to that. And then when he explained his point of view and sort of who his client is, Elaine says, you know what, I kind of understand your look better now. I like it a little better now that you've explained it. And she actually gave him credit for sticking to his guns, whereas when other people do that, like Sergio, and they get a low score and they get really defensive about it, it's more about, well, you can't criticize me. Where Jeffrey, it's like, this is sort of my point of view. I hope you like it. He was receptive to their criticism. And so that's the kind of person I like. Yeah. Or Nancy, who had a stumble last week and then decides to choose the same model because she wants to redeem herself with Dee Dee and put Dee Dee in something they'd look better in. Right. And it would be, and Nancy did it, which was fantastic. And
it was so sweet that he didn't go to the prom. They didn't go to the prom.
I misgendered last week. You misgendered this week.
Yes, I know. We commit our sins, but it was cute. I mean, it was youthful, and it wasn't. I think Sergio's was far more for sophisticated, but given who Dee Dee is, it just was enough glam to bring out his smile, or their smile. Anyway, Dee Dee is very attractive in his own way, and I like the smile. So
yeah, and the thing, that big ruffle that Nancy was doing could have ran the risk of being really kind of old and sort of like that gold look that they talk about sometimes, but it because of the sheer fabric, because of the the kind of slinky effect on it looked really kind of modern, like the judges were saying, and it was really a showstopper. And of course, the ball gown with pockets is always going to be a hit with especially female judges, because they know the struggle of the lack of pockets.
Right.
So yeah, I really love that look. I think Nancy should have won a challenge or two by now, or at least one challenge by now. There have been times when I thought she had top looks where she was just safe. So I'm really glad that she was in the top two. And I will say, Nancy really likes Sergio. Nancy feels that Sergio has been really supportive of her, and we saw that, during the challenge where he was sort of helping her sort of clean up finishing touches on her look, and they walked hand in hand off the runway. So I feel like if Nancy likes Sergio, that means something to me. Like, it feels significant that Nancy likes Sergio. I feel like there's stuff on the cutting room floor that we are not seeing of Sergio that maybe balances the I'm so good at what I do, no one can touch me Sergio. Yeah. So I'm not going to say I'll give him the benefit of the doubt, because the things that they capture him on camera saying are things that he actually says. But there might be a softer side to him that he shows to Nancy, at least. And I like Nancy a lot, so.
Yeah. Well, Delvin was dismissive of her once. I think he got over his...
More than once. Even this week, when she was doing the ruffle thing, he was like looking at her.
Him and his faces.
Delvin gives good face. His reaction shots are priceless.
Is he still wearing... I mean, they really focus on him this week, but is he still wearing his lab coat?
And on the runway.
Yeah. Whatever.
I'm surprised that Brittany was as salty as she was. Like, she had a safe look. I personally would have put that in my top three. but I was surprised at how, like, what the heck happened, where, because she goes backstage, because, like, how is I safe and not in the top?
Right.
And even she was, she and Delvin were a little dismissive of Nancy in the top, which I think was wrong, because Nancy had a top look as far as I was concerned. So that was interesting. But Brittany doesn't do it as often or as consistently as some of the others, so I'll give her a pass.
She swears more than anyone.
Yeah, I appreciate the swear. I appreciate good. It's like when they said it's got to be a one-day town. She's like, I knew it.
Well, your favorite contestant is going to make a comeback. Well, not permanently, we're presuming, but Mr. Allen.
Alan. The scenes from next week showed that it looks like the eliminated designers are coming back to help the current designers with their looks, and there have been now 8 or 9 designers who have left the show. There are 7 left. I assume Dae-Young is not going to be one of the designers who comes back as a helper. So I guess they'll bring 7 back, or they'll bring 8 back, and there'll just be like a floating one or something.
Floating one.
Yeah, just one of them will just float around from table to table, giving people help. Or maybe a couple people can double up, because Sergio, I don't know, it's like, I don't need help. You're not up to my level, so you shouldn't work on my look or whatever.
Can you imagine Alan and Sergio working together? That would be kick.
That would be, honestly, no, Tyler. Tyler needs to.
Tyler. Okay. Yeah. Oh my God, Tyler's coming back.
Yeah.
Is he going to say something?
And I mean, he just needs to not mention the Kushners ever.
He might wear his T-shirt with the saying on it.
Yeah. Which and get more sales and benefit
whatever charity.
And for the Ali Forney Center, which is really, really great to make sort of lemons out of lemonade for a good cause for him. Yeah. So kudos to him for that. But I am looking forward to seeing some of the people we lost. Also, Shavi and Melanie. Melanie was paired with who she paired? Oh no, she was paired with Jeffrey. But maybe she could work with Sergio too, because they were on the same team during the So 80s challenge, where Sergio got her eliminated with his leadership.
Yeah. But no, it should be fun. I was thinking it would be fun if the eliminated contestants would be their models.
That sounds even
They've
better.
never
I'm
done.
Totally down for that idea.
Yeah, I don't think they've ever done that. I mean, sewer's got to sew, I guess, and not walk the runway necessarily. But yeah. It would have been interesting too if they took the heritage thing and they had to wear it themselves.
Yeah, that would have been.
See, I should work for the show. I'm coming up with.
You should be a producer. We should both be just like associate producers.
That's right, and get the money and run.
And we're also going to get Sebastian Gray back next week. Last season's
That's
winner.
right.
So he'll make a guest appearance of some sort. It looks like just maybe for moral support, or as kind of a mentor to them this week to a certain degree.
Well, his designs are sold on that 19th Amendment website from last season. So not that I ever will be able to afford or fit into whatever he's made, but he had beautiful clothes too. Yeah. So it'll be interesting. Yeah, so he's going to mentor? Is he the mentor?
I'm not sure. They just sort of showed him coming into the room and giving pep talks. So it just, looked like maybe he's there to advise in sort of a Marnie Sinafonte kind of way, where he's just there to kind of be a sounding board, or I don't know, maybe he's just there for 10 minutes to give a, rally the troops kind of speech.
Yeah. But they got to make a new twist on a tuxedo.
Yeah, which sounds like it could be Delvin's challenge to finally win, because he does that tailored suit kind of thing, and he almost won for his tailored suit.
That's right.
Ashley Longshore challenge. So that sounds right up his alley.
Yeah.
And Marquise also does sort of, unisex kind of clothes, so he could really work that out. As for one more thing about going back to Dae-young, I created a poll when she withdrew. I think she should be invited to return in a future season if she's healthy. Yeah. What do you think? Most of our readers said so too, who have answered our poll. The vast majority of them say, like, yeah, she deserves another chance.
I do think she does, because she really, I mean, she didn't want to quit. I mean, unlike certain people, it's too hard. I can't make a full dress ever. So, no, I think they'll keep her in the back of their minds to try again. So.
Yeah. And to think of, like, you know, she created 2 top looks towards the end there when she was really at her weakest.
Yeah.
I mean, she had help from the other designers who helped her finish, but the fact that she accomplished those designs when she was feeling so poorly, like, I want to see her healthy. Like, she could be in it to win it if she's healthy.
Yeah. Well, I do think so, but, you know, this is only the 2nd season of this version, so.
Yeah, we'll see.
We have to see down. I mean, I don't think she should come right away back, but, you know, I want her to be healthy. Maybe it's going to take a while, so we don't need people fainting every week.
Yeah. And we need to make sure the show is actually coming back, because, you know, they didn't announce the season 18 renewal right away, so. And I don't think anything official about whether season 19 is coming.
Yeah.
Though I haven't heard anything about it being potentially canceled either, so we'll see.
Well, I like the challenges much more this season. They were too kind of weird, some of them, last time. So.
Yeah, the body modification one that I know you love.
Yeah, oh God, no. Nobody needs little things, you know, dinosaur, you know, ripples on their shoulders. It's not something I strive for in my clothing. So.
Well, we will be getting tuxedos next week, which sounds very, very like a thing humans wear without body modifications. So until then, I want to thank you, Susan, for joining me, and thanks to everyone for watching or listening. And we will see you next week.